On the night of December 23rd, 1888, Vincent van Gogh performed the most infamous act of his life. After a heated argument with a friend, in a fit of despair, he used a razor blade to remove a segment of his own left ear. After this event, his life, which was already troubled, virtually fell apart. Within a year and a half, he was dead. The incident with the ear is the one thing about Vincent van Gogh that everyone knows, but shockingly, it may not even be true. As we'll see, it's possible that Van Gogh didn't cut his own ear at all. Someone else may have done it, and Vincent may have helped cover up the attack to prevent the truth from coming out. By the way, in this video, we're pronouncing his name Van Gogh because that's easier and it's how people usually say it. But the real Dutch pronunciation is actually Van
Gogh.
However you say his name, he's one of the most celebrated artists of all time, known for masterpieces like Starry Night and Sunflowers. His unique brushstroke and vibrant colors have shaped modern art and left a lasting legacy. But the man's life was full of tragedy. Vincent van Gogh was born in 1853 in the Netherlands, the eldest of 6 children in a devout Protestant family. From an early age, he displayed a deep sensitivity and a restless nature, traits that would define both his personal struggles and artistic journey. Among his siblings, his younger brother Theo would become his closest confidant and most steadfast supporter. Theo worked as an art dealer, and recognizing Vincent's talent became his primary and often sole source of financial and emotional support. It was largely due to Theo's unwavering belief in him that Van Gogh was able to continue his work despite constant hardship. Although Van Gogh is now celebrated as one of history's greatest painters, his path to becoming an artist was anything but straightforward. He spent years searching for purpose, working various jobs, including as an art dealer in The Hague, a teacher in England, and even an aspiring minister. Inspired by his father, who was a pastor, he sought to enter the clergy, but his dreams of becoming a minister were derailed when he was rejected by the School of Theology in Amsterdam for refusing to take the Latin portion of the entrance exam, calling it a dead language for peasants. Undeterred, Van Gogh took on a role as a lay preacher in the poor coal mining region of Belgium, where he lived in extreme self-imposed poverty, believing that true faith required total sacrifice. He gave away his possessions, slept on the floor, and lived among the miners, earning their admiration but drawing a disapproval from church officials. They ultimately dismissed him, deeming his lifestyle too radical and unbefitting of a preacher. This devastating blow left him lost once again. But it was during this time of soul-searching that he turned to art as a new form of expression, one that would allow him to communicate the depth of human suffering and beauty in ways words could not. At the age of 27, Van Gogh would finally pick up the paintbrush for the first time. He then became utterly consumed by his craft. He was largely self-taught, studying the works of great masters and experimenting relentlessly. His artistic career, though it spanned just a decade, was astonishingly prolific. He produced over 2,000 works, including around 900 paintings and 1,100 drawings. He painted with such intensity and urgency that he averaged nearly one painting every 36 hours in his most productive years. Despite finding his calling, Van Gogh's life remained filled with hardship. He struggled with mental illness, experienced frequent bouts of despair, and lived in near constant poverty. His financial struggles were so severe that he often reused canvases, painting over his own work, because he could not afford new materials. Many of these lost Van Gogh paintings remain hidden beneath his later works, only discovered through modern scanning technology. The artistic world of his time largely rejected him. His bold use of color, expressive brushstrokes, and emotionally charged compositions were misunderstood and underappreciated. Even Van Gogh himself was plagued by self-doubt, constantly questioning the value of his work. In his lifetime, he managed to sell only a single painting, The Red Vineyard at Arles, for 400 francs, something like $2,000 today. All these paintings that Van Gogh couldn't sell are auctioned off for truly shocking prices today. For example, Laborer in a Field fetched 81 million. Self-Portrait Without a Beard, 72 million. His most expensive painting, Verger avec Cyprès, went for a truly incredible 117 million. It's insane to think that the man who created these masterpieces died penniless and often couldn't even afford canvases to paint on. Imagine what Van Gogh would say if he could see how prized his work is 135 years after his death. If no one liked his paintings when he was alive, how did he become so popular? It's all thanks to his brother Theo's wife, Joanna. She dedicated herself to preserving and promoting his paintings after his death. Thanks to her, Van Gogh's genius was finally recognized. His work, once dismissed, became celebrated for its raw emotion, vibrant colors, and groundbreaking technique. But of course, we can't skip over the most famous episode of Van Gogh's life, the time he removed his own ear with a razor blade. It's the one thing everyone knows about him, but it actually may not be true. The story goes like this. Van Gogh moved to Arles, France in 1888 with the plan to build a community of artists. This was when Van Gogh's mental health really began to decline. During this time, it is said that he occasionally ate his paints and drank turpentine, paint thinner. The community of Arles did not accept Van Gogh either, as he was not a well-viewed public figure. Citizens at one point even signed a petition to have him removed as a danger to the community. When news of Vincent van Gogh's worsening psychological state reached his brother Theo, he became deeply concerned. Determined to support Vincent, Theo reached out to Paul Gauguin, a painter whom Vincent greatly admired. Hoping that Gauguin's presence would provide stability and inspiration, Theo offered to financially support him if he agreed to move to Arles to live with Vincent and keep an eye on him. Initially, there was mutual respect between the two artists, as both recognized each other's talent and unique artistic vision. However, their time together quickly descended into turmoil. Their personalities and artistic philosophies clashed almost immediately, leading to heated debates and intense disagreements. Within weeks, their relationship became strained to the point that they could barely tolerate being in the same room. Van Gogh was emotionally fragile and prone to intense mood swings, and became increasingly unstable as their conflicts escalated. The tension escalated to such an extent that their time together in Arles became one of the most infamous artistic conflicts in history, culminating in the dramatic and mysterious incident in which Van Gogh lost part of his ear. The exact reason for Van Gogh cutting off part of his left ear remains unclear amongst historians. However, the current story of Van Gogh's ear was that after another heated argument with Paul Gauguin, Van Gogh reached a breaking point. On the night of December 23rd, following a fight with Gauguin, Van Gogh suffered a psychological breakdown. Some accounts suggest that Gauguin may have threatened to leave, which sent Van Gogh into a deep despair. In a fit of distress, he took a razor blade and mutilated his own left ear, partially severing it. There are even accounts that he wrapped it in a cloth and allegedly delivered it to a woman at a nearby brothel as a gift. Following this incident, Van Gogh was found bleeding and disoriented, and he was hospitalized. This marked one of the most severe episodes of his deteriorating mental health, leading to further psychiatric struggles that would eventually result in his voluntary admission to an asylum the following year. But what if I told you the history and everything we thought we knew was wrong about how and why Van Gogh cut off his own ear? There is another possibility some people think makes more sense. One alternative theory suggests that on that fateful December night, during one of their fierce disputes, Gauguin, an expert fencer, may have lashed out at Van Gogh with his weapon, slicing off a part of his friend's ear. Realizing the severity of what had happened, both men may have agreed to keep the true nature of the incident a secret. Gauguin, possibly fearing legal consequences or the loss of Theo's financial support, could have convinced Van Gogh to take the blame, allowing the world to believe it was a result of his mental instability rather than a moment of aggression. Adding weight to this theory is the fact that Gauguin left Arles abruptly the very next morning, never to see Van Gogh again. He barely spoke of the event in later years, and Van Gogh himself never explicitly stated how he lost his ear. Additionally, letters from both men contain cryptic references to the night's events, leaving room for speculation. If true, this revelation would reshape how we understand Van Gogh's tragic life. Rather than an act of self-destruction driven solely by mental illness, the ear-cutting incident could have been a moment of external violence, one that was covered up to protect reputations and avoid scandal. Whether he inflicted the injury on himself or Gauguin did it for him, the loss of the ear was the final turning point in Van Gogh's life. He voluntarily admitted himself into an asylum in Saint-Rémy-de-Provence the following year. There, he continued to battle severe episodes of depression and instability. Despite these struggles, he remained highly productive, creating some of his most iconic works, including the Starry Night and Wheatfield with Crows, which is commonly cited as the final painting Van Gogh completed, though it's not. That distinction belongs to Tree Roots. Despite the fact he continued to paint, his condition only deteriorated. On July 27, 1890, at the age of 37, Van Gogh walked into a wheat field near the small village of Arles, where he had been living under the care of a doctor. It was here that he pressed a revolver to his chest and fired a single shot. Mortally wounded but still conscious, he managed to make his way to the inn where he was staying. For nearly 2 days, he clung to life, receiving care from the doctor and visits from his devoted brother Theo. When asked about what had happened, Van Gogh told them the wound was self-inflicted. He refused medical intervention beyond basic care, seemingly accepting his fate. On July 29, 1890, he succumbed to his injuries with Theo by his side. His final words to his grieving brother were said to be, "The sadness will last forever." Vincent van Gogh's life was one of struggle, passion, and relentless creativity. Though he never saw the recognition he truly deserved in his lifetime, his work would go on to inspire generations and redefine the art world, turning him into one of the most celebrated artists in history. So what do you think? Was the removal of Van Gogh's ear done by his own hand? Or was it one big cover-up to protect Gauguin's reputation and avoid a scandal? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most infamous stories in art history, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the History Snob YouTube channel for more fascinating historical stories.